Welcome back, everyone, to the BGF podcast, episode 21. I'm your host, Gianluca, alongside of
Brandon.
And today we got the week 3 previews and predictions. So, before we get into that, though, there's been a little bit of NFL news, which I'm happy. I love the news. Kareem Hunt is officially a Cleveland Brown once again.
I think he waited it out. He
Yep.
got back to where he wanted to be. And,
You think he wanted to go back?
Well, I think at least he's used to playing there, and he's going to be the one. Well, maybe not. I think it's going to be more of a committee with him and Jerome Ford.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really a clear-cut guy in this backfield. So all you guys that are getting Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford in fantasy, I don't think either of these guys is going to be like a long-term season start that you could just start every week and get guaranteed production from.
I would wait and see what they do this week. They get the Tennessee Titans with a very good run defense, so personally I wouldn't start any of them this week. Just wait them out, see what the split is, see what the workload is, and judge it from there. But I'm happy he's on an NFL team once again, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a 1A, 1B situation. I think probably Ford is the 1A because the younger guy.
Yeah, they like him a lot.
Yeah, and he definitely has a future there post this year, which I think Kareem Hunt, this is probably his last. This might be his last year like in the NFL, to be honest.
What if he just rushes for 1,000 yards somehow? In a committee, he goes for 1,000, 6 touchdowns.
He definitely has the talent to do it. So
Think he re-signs somewhere else next year?
It's possible. I wouldn't be surprised. It's just we see it this in this age in the NFL, those 29, 30-year-old running backs, unless you're like a Derrick Henry, those elite guys, they're just gonna take a chance on a young guy, and because they don't get injured as often. So.
Plus, the new alpha looks like is the committee back. We saw Kansas City last year. Obviously, Pacheco emerged as the number one towards the end of the season, but throughout the whole year they were running committee.
Yeah,
McKinnon, Pacheco, and Clyde when he was healthy was just in there. So we'll see. Maybe this works out for Cleveland. Obviously, it's a big hit losing out Chubb, but Kareem Hunt is not a bad replacement. I don't hate it.
In more running back news, your boys picked one up. You guys needed someone in the run game. You got some help now with Cam Akers.
So here's my thing, right? Cam Akers is not the answer. Obviously, I don't hate the trade. He swapped 2026 picks.
We basically got him for free.
We got him for nothing. We gave up a 6. They gave us a 7. So what? Who cares? And you get Cam Akers. There's huge upside on him. He's still young. So if he emerges as the one, brilliant trade. And if he is just, average and whatever, we have a committee, which I'm not opposed to that. Also, look out for Kenny Nwangu, who's coming back, I believe, week 5 or 6, around there. When he comes in, I know they're very, very high on him, so expect him to get some rushing yards. I also want to see Ty Chandler get involved somehow. I want to see the potential on this kid. Preseason, he was used a hell of a lot, so I don't know why they're sticking away from him. But, hey, look, Cam Akers comes in. I'm not expecting an alpha. I'm just, it's going to be a committee, and sorry for all you Alexander Madison holders on fantasy.
I'm not sorry, because that was a guy you should have never picked in the 4th round. I never saw that. I know he was good with Zimmer when Cook was out. He was able to be a workhorse, and he could get you a 20 points, but that was a completely different regime, completely different,
different scheme.
O'Connell does not play the same way that
at all
Zimmer used to play, so I thought it was stupid from the beginning. And anyway, I think it's a really good, not really good there, but I think it's a good deal.
It is a good deal.
You basically get him for free. A guy that's worked with O'Connell, he definitely knows how he plays, and you see something in him. And we seen early in his career, before he got the ACL injury, he was productive as a rookie, so maybe he can get some of that back. And even if he doesn't, you could just always part ways with him during the year.
What's his commitment? I think $4 million on the cap, or $3 million for a year. It's really nothing. It's nothing. I'm not honestly, a great trade,
Especially for a team like you guys, where the run game has been an absolute zero. I think you probably have the worst run game in the league right now.
I think we're bottom 5. I believe we're bottom 5. I don't know if we're the worst. I wouldn't be surprised if we are, but we're definitely down.
It's really a lot of a workload on Kirk Cousins so far this season. And
hey, but listen, he's sleeping good tonight.
Yeah. With what's his name, the right guard?
Dalton Reisner, baby, coming in right guard, just replacing Ed Ingram. Get the fuck out of there. And Kevin O'Connell's playing around with it. He's like, I don't know if Reisner's going to start, if he's going to be ready to start.
He's going to play.
He's going to play. Last year he did the same bullshit with Hawkinson. He played 2 days later and he caught 8 for 89, so after Reisner starting.
Yeah, I'm sure you're excited for that against the
Can't wait.
That's going to be a big game. On Sunday, that's probably the best game on the Sunday.
The 1 o'clock slates at least. But anyway, speaking of Sunday, let's get into these weekly spreads, these weekly Pickems.
So far, it's 1-0 right now for you.
Yeah,
You tied first week, you won week 2. Hopefully, I can bounce back this week.
You need it.
And actually, on another note, it is already episode 21. I can't believe it's gone quick, man. So
I'm actually happy. I hope you guys are really enjoying the content, and we're having fun with it. We're doing our own stuff here, so
we really appreciate everyone that's supported so far, and let's keep on going.
Don't forget to leave a like if you want to see the weekly spreads, because we won't start. Alright, let's go.
Let's go. Thursday night football tonight. Actually, we're recording this Thursday morning.
Yeah.
We got my San Francisco 49ers going up against the New York Giants as 10.5-point favorites. Home opener at Levi's Stadium. I think it's obviously going to be rocking. We know how our fan base is. They love supporting our team. The Giants, it's been a very disappointing start to the season, coming off the season they had last year.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting this game to be over by the end of the mid-third quarter.
Yeah, and like if we're looking at the trend of the Giants games, is they've always come out asleep. Like so far through 2 weeks of football, the Giants came out sloppy in the first half. Obviously, if you do that against the Niners, I think it's going to be a similar game script as the Cowboys win. So if the Niners are out by like 20 at half, I expect this game to be a complete blowout. Obviously, Giants are without Saquon. They don't have their left tackle.
Andrew Tom, one of the best left tackles in the NFL, gone.
So I just, I honestly think this is the Giants' funeral here, and I see the Niners taking this. Even 10.5 is a big spread. Maybe the Giants cover, but I don't see it.
Even for us, we might be without Brandon and Gianluca, which, in my opinion, I think even if he can go, I wouldn't risk it. I think I would save him for next week. This is a game we won't really need him, and no need to risk injury for probably our best receiver.
As long as you got McCaffrey, you don't need IU.
Exactly. Even McCaffrey, I wouldn't he played 100% of the snaps last week. Hopefully, hopefully this week we could see some more Elijah Mitchell, because it's a short turnaround for a Thursday night game. We need to keep this guy fresh. We know his injury. I'm very surprised because usually we don't do that. Usually Elijah Mitchell does play some sort of a factor in the game. Even Jordan Mason. I like to see those guys involved a little bit, because especially in a game like this, I don't think we're going to need McCaffrey too much. I think we should be able to just get the win easily. So 10.5-point spread. We're both going Niners, I'm guessing.
We're both going Niners on this one. Let's move on to the Sunday afternoon slates. Just before we get into this, I'm on Run Your Pool. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this earlier. I do this weekly picking with work, so whatever the spread's open at, unfortunately, that's what we're at. We don't have live game spreads, so sorry about that. But anyways, Sunday afternoon slates, we got Baltimore Ravens 7.5-point favorites versus the Indianapolis Colts. Baltimore is hosting. What do you think about that one? That's an interesting one, honestly.
If this was at 6.5, I'd easily take Baltimore. I think they've been pretty solid to start off the year. Week 1 was a bit shaky, but they ended up coming out with the win, and they were good overall. Against Cincinnati, they played a good game, I found. So I think against Indy, is Richardson going to play this game? I don't think he will.
I don't think he's going to play.
So I think that's a really big factor in this. Minshew looked all right. And
he looked decent.
Yeah, he looked decent, but I don't think that could hold against a very good Baltimore defense. So I'm going to go with Baltimore here at 7.5. It is a big spread, but I'm going to take it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you and go Baltimore as well, especially if Richardson's not playing. Even if Richardson is playing,
he's definitely not going to be at 100%.
Yeah, and this is just like one of those big games for Indy, so really see what you got in the young guy, and unfortunately won't be at 100%. You're playing against a very good defense. We saw them lose to the Colts and beat Texans week 2, so haven't really been tested too hard on defense. So very interesting game here for Indy's offense. See what they can do against a really good defense. But yeah, no, I like Baltimore here, 7.5. So we'll both go Baltimore.
Next up, we got the Miami Dolphins versus the Denver Broncos at a 6.5-point spread for the Miami Dolphins, who are at home playing at Hard Rock Stadium. Here, I think this is a pretty straightforward line. Denver hasn't been too great so far to start the year. I think they're going to be 0-3. Miami's been one of the better teams in the NFL, so I'm going to take Miami at -6.5.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't like Denver's game script whatsoever. Obviously, they put up like 28 or 33. I don't remember what the score was against the Commies.
Which is surprising, because usually it's their defense that holds them up and the offense doesn't do much. But I've been surprised. The defense, they were good first half last week, but second half they capitulated. I
mean, look, you lost. You allowed the Commanders to put up 35. Miami has one of the better offenses in the NFL, so I think this is an absolute smash here. Miami 6.5. I like this line a lot. We saw Miami's defense step up in week 2 They weren't the greatest. Maybe they can hold Denver to less than a touchdown, but I'm pretty confident here in Miami 6.5.
Also, this is a game I'm actually going to be looking forward to. We're going to get to see one of the best wide receiver cornerback matchups in the NFL. Pat Surtain versus Tyreek Hill should be a very interesting matchup. See, this is where Surtain can really put himself as like the best corner in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because probably no one could slow down Tyreek Hill in the NFL right now.
I mean, look, Christian Gonzalez last week
he
did a pretty good job. And, Miami, Denver likes to run a lot of man sets, so Pat Surtain's going to be probably on Tyreek Hill the whole game. We'll see how that looks, but very interested for that matchup, like you said. Anyways, moving on here, we got the New England Patriots, 2.5-point favorites versus the New York Football Jets, who are at home.
If you would have told me to start off the year that New England would be 2.5-point favorites against the Jets, I would have said this.
This is crazy.
Exactly what happened. A disaster so far for the Jets. They obviously looked terrible last week against probably one of the better defenses in the NFL. And the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson throws 3 picks. They get absolutely nothing going on offense.
At all. At all.
So, and it looks like I'm taking New England here as well.
I'm going to have to agree with you. You know what? New England's defense is very, very underrated. Bill Belichick is probably one of the best defensive coordinators of all time, head coaches all time, whatever. So he runs this defense very, very good. Last year, he held the Dolphins to 20, less than 30. And second half, Miami did nothing. His adjustments are really, really good. I think against this New York Jets team with a guy like Zach Wilson throwing the football, it's not really as much of a threat as Tua and Hill. So I like doing this defense.
It is on MetLife though, so that kind of.
Yeah, but Gillette and MetLife, they're next door. It's gonna be a couple of New England fans going over.
This is a game I would suggest not watching.
Yeah,
I feel like this is gonna be a very low scoring game.
It's going to be a very low-scoring game, but I like New England here. I think they're going to pick up their first win of the season.
I agree with that. 2.5. I think they could easily cover that.
2.5. And moving on, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars, 9.5-point favorites versus the Houston Texans. The Jags are at home. Now, this to me is a very interesting line because I don't know why it's so high. The Jags' offense has not been as lights out as we would like, minus week 1, where they looked really good. But I feel like the thing with the Jags is it's almost similar to the Vikings with the consistency issues. They have some weeks where they shine and some weeks where they're horrible, and last week was not a great week. They're playing against a very competitive Houston team. I really like what Houston's done early on. Their defense is not so great, but DeMeco Ryans, they have a pretty okay game script, and I think 9.5 is a little too high for the Jags.
Which is unfortunate because we agree yet again. I also think Houston, they've been one of my more interesting teams to watch this year. Yeah. I think they've been an interesting watch. Their defense is in week 1. The defense was really the bright point for them. Yeah. It looked good against who they played Indy week 1. No, they played Indy last week. They played week 1. Baltimore.
Ravens.
Yeah, against Baltimore, I found they looked pretty good. Their defense. Their offense was the real main point last week. In the second half, they showed out Nico Collins, Tank Dell. Yeah. Those guys looked very solid. And CJ Stroud, who has been very nice to watch. So I think they can cover this line against Jacksonville.
A little interesting matchup here. Cleveland Browns, somehow 3.5-point favorites.
Well, it is because they're probably at home.
Versus the Tennessee Titans.
I'm going to take Tennessee here. I think Cleveland, they haven't been too impressive so far. Week 1, but their defense is good. That's the thing. I don't know how Tennessee's going to score points on offense because their offense is, it's whatever. It's nothing too great. I like Treylon Burks, how he looked last week. Hopefully it could be the same story this week. And Cleveland, their offense has been alright. Amari Cooper is questionable for this game, but I think he will play anyway. Like last week where they screwed us over in fantasy, where they said he wasn't going to play. I bench him, and then on Monday, what happens?
He's playing.
This guy's somehow playing. But anyway, I think Tennessee is going to be able to cover this. It is tough at home in Cleveland. They won their Week 1 matchup against Cincinnati. But I'm going to trust in Tennessee, and I'm going to take the dog here at 3.5.
Yeah, once again, I'm going to have to agree with you. I really like this line for Tennessee. Tennessee is a very underrated run defense. Jeffrey Simmons gets in there almost every play. And forcing Deshaun Watson to throw the football. We saw how he looked against Cincy. It wasn't too great. He had some nice throws, but that was a rain game. Against Pittsburgh, he looked awful. So Deshaun Watson won't win you a football game. And Yeah, Tennessee. I'm going Tennessee here.
I feel like Cleveland. I don't know. I feel like this might be a line we might get wrong. I feel like Cleveland, they're getting underrated a bit right now because they went up against such a good defense in Pittsburgh. Tennessee does have a good run defense, that's for sure, but we'll see. They have a good defensive line. It might be. Anyway, I'm sticking with my pick. Tennessee was
Tennessee, yes sir.
Tennessee was the pick. So
next up, we got the Detroit Lions at home, 3.5-point favorites versus the Atlanta Falcons.
this one is another tough one. It is at home at Ford Field. I don't know what to think of Detroit because obviously their offense is gonna be. Amon-Ra St. Brown is questionable as well. Like this is not one where he's like he didn't practice yesterday. It is a toe injury. I know those could last for some time. I don't know. If Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't play, I'm hoping for a big role from Jahmyr Gibbs this game now that Montgomery won't be playing.
That's the thing with the Lions. I don't know, man.
Craig Reynolds is gonna have 3 rushing touchdowns.
Probably, yeah. Like I honestly wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. This is one of the harder ones.
Sorry.
What is it?
Sorry about that, boys.
3.5.
3.5 Detroit.
You know what? I'm gonna take Atlanta here. Atlanta's been solid. It's been a good fights. They've put up good fights so far this year. Bijan Robinson has looked like an absolute stud, one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. I'm gonna take Atlanta here, and I think they're gonna fight hard against this middling Detroit defense.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Detroit's defense looked awful last week, like I expected. They lose Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Huge blow. I think he's out for the season. He looked like their best piece on the
season. He's out for the season, for real?
He might, because I think he tore his pec.
Damn.
So that's a huge, very huge loss for them. Bijan Robinson's an absolute stud. Atlanta's going to be able to just get things rolling here. Desmond Ridder's going to have to throw the football a little more because they do have Aiden Hutchinson that is a threat in the run game. But either way, I don't think without Amon-Ra St. Brown, Detroit's going to be able to win this one. And
we're agreeing yet again.
Another agreement.
We're getting a draw this week or what? This is this is crazy. But even I like Desmond Ridder. He did look better in week 2.
He looked a lot better than week 1.
You saw his threat in the run game. He was able. There was a few QB sneaks. He was able to not QB sneaks, but
Arthur Smith unlocked this offense. Come on, you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts. Use them.
Yeah, that you're really hoping for a lot on that.
Anyways, moving on. We got the Green Bay Packers 1.5-point favorites versus the New Orleans Saints. Green Bay is at home.
Lambeau does have a big advantage. This is a tough one because we know New Orleans is 2-0 right now.
Yeah.
They haven't played the hardest opponents so far. Definitely, it's Green Bay. I found Green Bay's look good. Just besides that fourth quarter against Atlanta, I think they've been good. They've been very good this year. 1.5-point favorite. You're taking New Orleans, and this is where we're finally gonna differ. I'm gonna take Green Bay here, so this might be the matchup that decides.
This might be the one that decides the week.
I've been going back and forth on this one because I looked at it obviously earlier.
Yeah.
I was considering New Orleans. I was considering Green Bay, but you know what? At home, I think Jordan Love's gonna bounce back here. A game they shouldn't have lost last week. I'm gonna take Green Bay.
So here's my thing, right? The Packers have not played a good defense yet. In my opinion, the Falcons are not a great defense. This is going to be Jordan Love's first real test against a solid defense. Their defense on New Orleans' side has won them games. So I'm expecting a huge performance from them once again. I think it's going to be a little too much time for Jordan Love and Green Bay Packers. So I'm going with the New Orleans Saints here to even win this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a game that's definitely going to go down to the end. It's going to be who can execute late in the game.
Anyways, I'm happy we're disagreeing, so we might have a winner this week. We'll see. Anyways, Buffalo Bills, 6.5-point favorites versus the Washington Commanders, who are at home. And now this one, we saw what Buffalo did last week. They completely annihilated.
They put the critics to bed.
They did. And, you know, Josh Allen, as much as we want to hate on this man for the turnover issues, he's a great quarterback.
Especially when he's playing at his best, man, he is one of the...
He is really good. And, you know, he has that dual threat. He runs, he throws on you, he does everything. And I think this Buffalo team is going to be a little too much to handle for this Washington Commanders team. The Commanders are 2-0, but they haven't really faced a real test yet. And I think this Buffalo offense is elite, and I think they're going to be able to just take this one from Washington. Buffalo's defense is also very underrated, so I think they are going to be able to bottle up that Washington offense, but... yeah, I just like Buffalo here, 6.5.
And I'm going to differ. I think
Oh.
Washington has been especially their offense and their defensive line has been very impressive so far in week 1. I know Buffalo on the road, they do tend to struggle not struggle, but I'm saying to cover like a 7-point spread. Like, I don't see them doing that all the time on the road. So I think Washington, they've been solid to start off the year. I think Brian Robinson and the run game, plus Sam Howells look good in week 2.
Yeah.
I think they could. I don't think they're gonna win the game, but I think they could definitely cover the line. So I'm gonna take Washington here.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I like the difference. I like it. So, anyways, let's move on to one of the harder games of the week. Los Angeles Chargers pick 'em basically 0.5 favorites versus the Vikings, who are at home.
This one I don't know what to do.
I mean, look. Here's my thing, right? Minnesota. First 2 weeks of play, their offense has been very iffy. Turned the ball over 7 times in 2 games. 7 times in 8 quarters.
This is it's at your place.
It's in It's at the U.S. Bank. So
that might be.
I think Kevin O'Connell is going to fix this offense. Brian Flores has made this defense very, very solid. Obviously, the stats don't show it, but if you watch the games, they're always out on the field because of the turnovers. Somehow holding teams to like field goals and late touchdowns. So really impressed with this defense. Chargers don't have too great of a defense, in my opinion. I think the Vikings are going to be able to do whatever they want on offense. So I'm edging Vikings here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. I feel like the media, everyone's saying, Minnesota's defense is like terrible, like one of the worst in the league. I think it's really much improved. Like
It is.
When you're starting on the 30, there's not much this defense can really do. Especially, I find early on in the games, they're very solid. And second half, it kind of like, a lot of work gets put on them because the offense just keeps turning the ball over.
I mean, last game they were on the field for 40 minutes.
Exactly. So I feel like the run. I don't know. The run defense was bad last game, but they did come up against the Philadelphia Eagles, of one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. This is a very good Chargers offense, who we saw last week. Keenan Allen went off.
But is
Mike
Austin
Williams
Eckler going to be healthy?
Even if he's not, I don't think it's really that much of an issue. They're always going to be a pass-heavy team anyway. I really don't know what to do. Because you know how much I like this Chargers team. It's just the defense is so bad. It just keeps letting me down. J.C. Jackson has to be one of the biggest free agent busts in the past years, man. This guy sucks.
He lost something.
Joey Bosa would look a bit better last week. Just I don't know. They have a lot of good names. Derwin James. They have a lot of good names on this defense. It's just
can't translate to the field.
Overall, Brandon Staley, one of the worst coaches in the league. I hate that guy. Can't wait for him to get. He has a very good first name, but besides that, nothing's great about this.
Here's a hot take for you guys.
He's the first coach fired.
If Brandon Staley loses this game, he's gone.
I hope so, man. I hate this guy. So you know what? Just for all these factors, I'm gonna take Minnesota as well. Yes. They're at home. I'm gonna take Minnesota. There's too much risk on the Chargers. Like, I love Justin Herbert. I love Keenan Allen. I like Eckler. I don't know if he's gonna play. He didn't practice yesterday again, so I'd expect he'll be out again. I like Quinn and Johnson. Hopefully, he can finally get
things rolling
in this offense. I'm gonna take Minnesota here.
Yeah, and I think, you know what, whoever loses this game, their playoffs hope are almost shot. Mm-hmm. Especially on the Chargers side of things, because the Bills started rolling, Chiefs started rolling, the Ravens that are hot, and the Dolphins in their division. Oh my God, my mistake. The Raiders and Broncos aren't looking too great, but either way, this AFC is pretty stacked.
For me, it bothers me with the Chargers because like every year you expect them to do good. KC has not looked good this year. Their defense has, but their offense is not. KC isn't the power they've been every year. This is the time where they could have taken advantage of it, and they don't. They never do it. I don't know what they're waiting for. It's annoying. I'm not even. Imagine being a fan of this team. I'm not even a fan of them.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. But anyways, let's move on to Seattle. 5.5 point favorites versus the Panthers. Seattle is at home.
I'm going to take Seattle pretty easily here.
I think I'm taking Seattle too. The Panthers haven't shown me much. Obviously, Seattle doesn't have a great defense, so maybe they get things rolling this week. But I don't see it happening. Geno Smith looked really, really good last week, and I think they're going to keep that momentum rolling. They are at home, so
I have zero confidence in this Carolina team.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you.
It's like they got nice pieces, but they're just missing a lot of pieces. So I think you understand what I'm saying. Like they got like Bryce Young, good little piece, Brian Burns. Horn's obviously out now. They got Jeremy Chin. They got guys like that. Actually, Shaq Thompson got injured as well.
Is he out for the year? I think he might be out for the year.
That's another big loss for them. Like they have nice pieces. It's just they're missing pieces, especially on offensive line.
Oh, big time. Big time.
There's just a lot going on with this team, and Seattle looked good last week. I think they should be back on track. I'm surprised it's not a higher spread. I thought this would be like a 6.5 type, maybe even 7.5, because Carolina is definitely. You saw it in our power rankings. We had them second worst team in the NFL, so I'm gonna easily take Seattle here at 5.5.
Yeah. Now this next game is really, for me at least, is really just tough. Kansas City Chiefs 12.5 point favorites versus the Chicago Bears. KC is at home, but
their offense has struggled to even put up 12.5 points.
So. And I think if there is a game where KC's offense is going to shine, it is against Chicago. Chicago sucks. They're the worst team in the NFL, and 12.5 is a lot.
It is a lot, but I'm gonna take KC. Patrick Mahomes is a guy that at one point this guy is gonna have this offense rolling. They obviously this receiving core has not been great, but this could be the week that it finally kicks into gear. And with a guy like Mahomes and Kelsey being there, it's about time. It's only a matter of time that KC's gonna start winning games and putting up big time points on offense. And we know the defense. We know Chicago's offense is horrible. We know Kansas City's defense has been very good so far to open the year. So I don't think KC's even gonna have to score that many points. I think Chicago's gonna really struggle on offense this week.
Yeah, you know what? KC is going back to Arrowhead. They got embarrassed week 1, so I think, you know what? I'm going to edge KC here as well. This spread for me was really, really tough. So, anyways, let's move on to another, in my opinion, difficult spread. Dallas Cowboys 12.5 point favorites versus the Arizona Cardinals, who are at home.
And Arizona has played teams very tough this year.
Arizona has been in football games this season. That's all I got to say.
I think this one's harder than the last one, to be honest.
These both 12.5 game spreads are very, very hard.
The only thing is Dallas has been able to win by 20 plus points this year.
So
that's why. So it wouldn't surprise me if they could do it again. So
I mean, look, Dallas. The thing with Dallas, right, is their defense is elite. It's not going to slow down. I think it's going to get after Josh Dobbs. I think Josh Dobbs is going to struggle to put points up against this defense.
But Arizona is at home, so are you going to get dogged that bad at home?
Yeah, but it's going to be a Dallas home game. I mean, we know Cowboys fans travel, and Arizona's attendance isn't too great usually, so...
You know what? I'm going to take Dallas as well.
I think I'm going Dallas here. I think this is going to be a little too much for Josh. I think Josh Dobbs is going to be brought back down to earth very, very fast in this game. And this might be an absolute mugging here on
You expected
Sunday
the Arizona
afternoon.
Cardinals with the second half last week?
I'm expecting the Arizona Cardinals to put up a performance like the New York Giants in week 1. I can't even. I think this Dallas team is going to be a little too much to handle, especially that defense, and Arizona's offense is not. It has looked decent. Josh Dobbs has shown in some instances, but all in all, this offense is going to struggle against this Dallas the front especially. And anyways,
I can see Michael Parsons having 2+ sacks this week.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. We both got Dallas. Sunday nighter. The Pittsburgh Steelers are once again on Sunday Night Football, but the Las Vegas Raiders are home and they are 1.5 point favorites. What do you think about this one?
I don't know what to think. Both these teams have big time question marks. I don't know if Jacoby Myers is on the practice field. Interesting.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams should be good to go. They said he should be good after the concussion and scare. I don't know, man. You're going.
I got this.
Because it is our home at Allegiant. Jimmy, is this their home opener? Yeah, it is their home opener. Because last week they played in Buffalo and week 1 they played in Denver. So.
Wow, so it is their home opener. That's kind of wild.
Home opener, Jimmy Garoppolo finally playing in front of those Vegas fans. I know Pittsburgh's defense is like super solid. It's just their offense doesn't.
Offense is not good. But I mean,
I could definitely see at least one instance in this game of Jimmy Garoppolo's happy feet happening. Actually, I
love those happy feet
against this defense. Definitely. Man, I don't have trust in any of these teams, man.
You know what? I think this Pittsburgh defense is going to be too much to handle for this Vegas
Every
offense.
time I hate doing Pittsburgh games because when they play against these middling teams, it's like as shit as Pittsburgh's offense is, that defense could just win. It's going to
win them a game. I mean, their defense beat Cleveland last week. Yeah. 2 touchdowns. I mean, literally putting up more points than the offense. So
I'm gonna take Vegas. You know, let's change it up.
All right, I like it. I got Pittsburgh here. This one was also tough. I don't know. Anyways, Monday nighter, there's a doubleheader once again this week, so
I don't like this double.
I hate the doubleheader bullshit. But anyways, Philadelphia Eagles,
There's no
5.5-point favorites versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are at home. What do you think about this one?
Another one. A 2-0 Tampa team who, you know what, they've been impressive these first 2 weeks. They've been better than what I expected. Mike Evans had a huge game last week. All the question marks on how would if Mike Evans gonna hit 1,000 yards this year, I think he's definitely gonna.
He's hitting it, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, this guy is just absolutely insane. Chris Godwin he's been okay, not as good as Mike Evans, but he's been pretty solid so far with Baker.
Yeah.
I don't know what to. I think I'm gonna edge Philly here.
Here's my thing: 5.5 is a bit high for Philly. Their offense really has not impressed me through 2 weeks of football, and their defense.
Got the job done, though.
They do get the job done, right? But I mean, I don't see Tampa turning the ball over 4 times. And their defense also has not impressed me whatsoever. I think this Bucs team is going to be able to get things moving. They are at home. I can see this Bucs team at least covering the spread. I think I'm going to edge Philly for the win, but Tampa to cover the 5.5 is a bit high. That's basically 6 points a touchdown. So
yeah, I'm gonna take Philly.
All right, we differed quite a bit. I like it.
Yeah, towards the end, in the 4:00 games and Monday nights, looks like we're
different. Second Monday nighter, Cincinnati Bengals 1.5-point favorites versus the Los Angeles Rams. Cincinnati is at home.
That is a big thing here, but the Rams have been super impressive. We talked about it in our power rankings. They were very high up. They were in our top 10.
Yeah.
I like them this week. I like them all season. They get the ball out quick. Puka Nacua having a amazing
year.
Amazing
year.
Tutu Atwell, Kyron Williams, no Cam Akers now that he is in Minnesota. Just their defense is that's the one thing that's always going to scare me with the Rams is the defense isn't looking that great.
It isn't. But here's the thing, right, with Cincinnati, their O-line is not as good as we think. They've been allowing a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow.
And he might not even play this week. It might be Channing Browning, is that his name? I don't know, something.
Listen, Joe Burrow's playing. I think at 0-2 he needs to play.
And I hate that they put themselves in the situation where they force him to play injured now and he has to play these games. And even if he does play, he won't be at 100%.
No.
I'm going to go with LA with the way they've started off this year. The way they played us super hard. To play against one of the better teams in the league and I'm going to say they lost by 10, even though it was by 7. That field goal was some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I really like this Rams team. I'm not that impressed with Cincinnati's offense. Cincinnati's going to have to absolutely maul the Rams to impress me this weekend.
Mm-hmm. I don't see
it happening. I don't see it happening. I think the Rams are a lot more competitive than people are giving them credit for. And it is a low spread at 1.5, so I even see the Rams winning this game. And just, Cincinnati continuing to struggle here against early on in the season, moving on to 0-3. But yeah, that about wraps up our spreads. We're going to do a survivor pick, because we're both still alive. This week is hard.
Let me see.
I have games.
I have one in mind right now. What do you think?
I like the big spread. So I like Dallas and I like KC here.
I was considering KC all week. It's just, do I want to use KC up this early on in the year? Where are we, week 3 now?
I also like the Vikings. I have to shoot that out there.
That one I'm not. That one I really have no confidence in either team. So until they show me something more, I can't trust them yet.
Yeah.
Miami's not a bad one, but Miami's another team you'd like to keep.
Miami you want to keep.
Baltimore.
Who do you use the first 2 weeks? I use the Commies and the Niners week 2.
I use Washington and Tampa so far, so I got all the big boys left.
You're good.
That's right. So can I finally use one of the big boys this week?
I think this week is...
I'm going to go KC. Let's keep it rolling.
You're going KC, I'm going Minnesota.
You're going... Yeah, that's... I don't know. Next week you might be out of here.
No, I trust my Vikings. I think they're going to get the job done. And you know what? I'm going to get that stress out the way. Get rid of the Vikings early in the season.
That is risky, especially with the big spreads that we have this week.
I like the Vikings here.
You're good shit, though. At least you're trusting in your team.
I don't know. I'm telling you, I like the Vikings this week. But anyways, that about wraps up our week 3 previews. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. If you want to see the week 2 power rankings, that's down in our video section. Just hit the link to our channel down below.
We'll put up an end card. You can see it here, popping up at the top right. Here, there, I don't know where it's going to be.
One of these sides.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.